Victor Pross speaking to you, anarchist artist. Well, revolution is in the air. You can feel it. And it's a type of revolution that's not one that's going to be taken to the streets with torches and kerosene cans and bricks and smashing windows. The revolution that's taking place is in the field of ideas. Revolution takes place in the minds of men before it takes to the streets. It's ideas that are the cause of all revolutions, for the good or for evil. It all begins with ideas. Now, most people have been educated in a state school, so from that you'll have the type of people that you will come across today, and for the most part people view the state as a mummy figure, a parental figure, because they have been indoctrinated in the state-mandated schooling. So it just comes with the territory. It's just the same as a little baby duckling that won't necessarily be endeared to its biological mother, but could very well imprint itself to a helium balloon that's floating along and figure that as its mummy. So the state practically raises children today in place of the parents, and a great deal of who the values and points of views and philosophies that they incorporate into their minds has been taken from state propaganda. This is not such a radical idea. It's pretty much common sense can dictate that, and so it's no wonder that in today's revolution, the revolution that definitely is taking place, that there is a lot of people who are very unhappy and disoriented and disenfranchised, and it's no wonder that they're running to the state for protection. And what are they seeking protection from? Well, they're seeking protection from what they have been told that is the enemy, which is the modern corporation. I mean, the state thrives on the invention of enemies, real or imaginary. Before, in years past, it was the communists, and then became the terrorists, and now that the corporations is in the mix as well. So you need that boogeyman. But as far as the corporations is concerned, that boogeyman is not necessarily completely unfounded. But let's take a look at it with a more clear vision, through a more rational lens, I would say. The corporations are the beneficiaries, not the source of the destruction that's running rampant in today's world. Let me repeat that. The corporations are the beneficiaries, not the source of the destruction that is running rampant in today's world. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. The state holds a legal and moral monopoly on the initiation of physical force. It is the only social organization that has arrogated this so-called right to itself. The state is not a productive enterprise. It does not produce anything. It merely expropriates wealth that has been created by a market of producers and traders. The state is a gun, a club, a fist. It is raw physical force. That is what the state is. That is how that social institution is different from any other kind of social institution. It holds a legal and moral monopoly on the initiation of force, not retaliatory force, initiation of physical force. That's what the state is. And yet people are running to the state for protection from the corporation. It's akin to a person who breaks your leg, and then later on you run to that person who broke your leg seeking medical care. It's fucking ridiculous. Take a case in point. A few years back, the Wall Street protests. It was so sad witnessing that, for the most part. It was invigorating in a certain sense that people were starting to question the institutions and taking to the streets in protest. They're just missing the mark, missing the bullseye, just missing the fucking bullseye. Corporations don't have force at their disposal. Not in the same sense as the government does. They do not have the power that the state holds. The protesters weren't arrested by Starbuck cops. Okay, the cops who were inflicting the violence and force on the protesters did not have logos on their caps. The only logo was the shield of the state. And in a stateless society, the only power that a business would have would be economic. And the source of that power would be the people, the voluntary customer base of that business. Businesses need customers, willing, voluntary customers. That's the source of their power, so-called power. The power of the business owner is, hey, I have services and merchandise to offer. Are you interested? This is very different from wars and prisons and laws and regulations. Yes, there are businesses who bribe governments to give them special legislation. But it's the state that holds the power to do so, for Christ's sakes, in the first place. How is it that people can't connect these fucking logical dots together? The state has the gun. The state is the most violent predator the world has ever known. It has the power to print money. It can grant legislation for or against a given company. It's the state that holds that power. It's the system itself that is corrupt, but it's corrupt on a state level. The corporations are merely attempting to use the state for their own advantage, and for that they're absolute fucking ass clowns, absolutely. But let's not forget where the actual source of the corruption comes from. Do you really think that corporations are running the government? Really? Do you fucking think so? The U.S. government has thousands of nuclear weapons, has thrown thousands of people in jail for victimless crimes, has murdered millions of people, decimated the Native American population, launches wars, sells the unborn to creditors, inflates the dollar, holds a monopoly on the money supply, indoctrinates children in the schools. You think it's the corporations are the bad guys in this fucking picture, in this scenario? You only think that because you're mouthpieces for the fucking propaganda that has been inculcated by the state. Yeah, there is a shadow in our midst, and the shadow is the modern corporation, yes. But the shadow is nothing but a shade of dark cast from the stone statue that is the state. Thank you. Victor Pross signing out. Anarchist artist. Pop goes the culture.